All right, look, I'm back, man. I know I just did a video, but I need to do another one. I just came across some information, or seen some information. They're talking about, Mike Goldberg's last UFC commentating UFC was 207, and I've been hearing Dana saying he's trying to get his dream guy. Like a couple weeks ago, I heard Chael hinting at that his dream dude, his dream commentator is Jim Rome. You know, and Jim Rome gets paid a lot of millions. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, he's got a gig doing his own thing. I think for HBO. I'm not even sure. I think it's HBO, but he's getting paid millions to do his show. You know what I'm saying? So for Dana White to get Jim Rome, I'm not sure. I'm not too sure on how into MMA Jim Rome is. But even regardless about that, like if you're gonna take somebody from a show that's making millions and you're gonna bring him onto this show, like you're gonna have to pay him millions, and that kind of bugs me because there's fighters not making millions, So you're gonna pay this guy to commentate. Like we're not here to hear. Like we like Joe Rogan, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Joe Rogan is the guy. He's that dude. You know what I'm saying. But like to pay to. I don't know. I'm just assuming this is all speculation. But if Jim Rome comes in, I'm sure he's going to be getting millions. And for you to be paying millions to him for commentating, and then not even just commentating, like Joe Rogan's still going to be the lead commentator, so he's going to be like what, like just play by like the Mike Goldberg, you know what I'm saying? And you're gonna pay him millions to commentate on fights when there's fighters making thousands. Like that don't even make sense to me, dog. Like how could you do that? Like you know what I mean? Like I feel like messed. Like dang, man. At least pay the fighters what they deserve. If you're gonna get somebody, pay. I get it. He's a big dude, but I don't think getting Jim Rome is gonna make ratings go up. I don't think getting Jim Rome is gonna make people tune in to UFC now that weren't into UFC before. Like that doesn't even make sense to me. I don't know why. Like if you're gonna pay him all these million, like that just doesn't even make sense. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's crazy. And also, I just seen Dana White. I think he was on the Colin Hurd show, and he was talking about the Floyd and excuse me, the Floyd and Conor fight, and he's talking about because Floyd said he's the A side. He's made over 100, over 800 million in his fights. You know what I'm saying? He's the A side. He wants 100 million. Conor should get 15 million or double whatever he's made in a fight. And some pay-per-view points. Dana White countered that and said, I'll give you 25, I'll give Conor 25, and then we'll talk about pay-per-view. I still think, I do think, as much as I like Conor and love Conor, I think Conor should get a little less. I think Floyd should get a little more because of history, what he's done, and how much he's made. But at the same time, I think Conor should be getting paid a lot of money too because it's a different sport. Boxing is one aspect of MMA. It's not fighting. It's boxing. It's a boxing match, so he's taking a lot of weapons away just to use his hands. So I think he should also be compensated for that, for that sake, But yeah, so they're trying to, man, this fight is going to happen. I guarantee you this fight happens. It might not happen. It might not happen this year. It might happen next year. Who knows? But it will happen because Floyd said that's the only fight he wants, which makes sense. It's money. It'll be a huge fight. I heard Scott Coker. I don't know if you guys know who Scott Coker is. Scott Coker, real quick, is he was the owner, or I'm not sure if he was the owner. He was the owner of Strikeforce. If you remember Strikeforce, that's where Ronda came from. A lot of people came from Strikeforce. Luke Rockhold. A lot of people were in Strikeforce. Dan Henderson went to Strikeforce. Nick Diaz was the champion over there at Strikeforce. Like a lot of, if you know the fighting stuff, like Strikeforce was next. After Pride, it was Strikeforce and UFC, and then somehow, I don't know what went wrong. Strikeforce might have went in a hole or something, but UFC ended up owning Strikeforce and the fighters, so they got, they combined it. It's all that's why a lot of Strikeforce fighters are now UFC fighters, because Strikeforce, I'm not sure if they went under or whatnot, but anyways, Scott Coker now owns Bellator. He's the owner of Bellator. He's doing it right. He was putting his 2 cents in on the Mark Hunt lawsuit and stuff, and he was just like, oh, it's really awkward for him to have that lawsuit and also have a fight going. But at the same time, like I said in my previous video, he's fought a few juicers in the past, 3 to 4 juicers in the last 3 to 4 fights. They're all juiced up. So and now he's fighting Alistair Overeem, who's no stranger to steroids. You know what I'm saying? So he's just saying, putting his input in on that. And But what I wanted to say was I like how Scott Coker is doing it. He seems like a really nice guy, legit dude. He knows the sport. He definitely knows the sport. He is doing it right, man. He's a promoter. He's the promoter of Bellator. I think he's also the owner of Bellator. But here's the thing: what they're doing right, they're allowing sponsors. They don't have a uniform. Every fighter can be themselves. This is where the personality comes in. They got their own sponsors, their own shorts, their own clothes. They get to do their own thing, get to be their own person instead of wearing a uniform and not getting sponsors and get paid from. This is how fighters, low class fighters, get rich. Is because of sponsors, you know what I'm saying? So the UFC took sponsors. Bellator still has sponsors, and Bellator pays the fighters more than the promotion. So UFC makes more than the fighters make. It should be flip-flop. It should be vice versa of that. The fighters should make more. UFC makes less, you know what I mean? And now all your fighters, if you pay them correctly, the fights are going to come. They're going to make people fight. They're going to want the fights. They're going to do the fights, Also, I wanted to say real quick, I know I'm just rambling and going, but Khabib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson is for the interim lightweight title. So Conor's the lightweight champion. This is for the interim title, which is kind of stupid to me because Conor just won that belt last week. You know what I'm saying? So they're already doing an interim fight, and this has to do with the new owners, the WME, IMG, I'm sure, because they're trying to make big fights. They got a backlog. You know what I'm saying? Think about how they pay mortgage and shit. You got to pay mortgage. You got to pay rent, right? You got to pay mortgage. You got to pay rent on a house. That's what, $400,000, $600,000. You got to pay a couple thousand for rent or whatnot. I'm just making numbers up here, but imagine a $4 billion house, and imagine a mortgage on that. You know what I'm saying? So think about it like that. So they got to pay some of this money back for the $4 billion that they spent. So they're doing these interim titles. It makes it more exciting, I guess. Not to me. I don't really give a fuck about interim titles. I think they're stupid unless a fighter is injured, hasn't fought for a long time. But when someone just won the belt in November 12th was the fucking 205 when Conor won the belt, and it's now January 13th. And you got an interim title for next month or for March. It's stupid. It's like, what are we doing? I get it. You want to hype people up for these fights, make them more exciting so you can get more pay-per-view numbers. But, dude, these interim belts are stupid. They're pointless. There's nothing. Look at Max Holloway. He's over there at the interim belt, and Jose Aldo's somewhere else hey, I want to go up and fight. He's chasing Conor. These interim belts are stupid, man. If you're going to make belts, make more weight classes and make them official real belts so then it makes it more exciting. Fuck these interim belts. They do nothing for anybody except guarantee you a title shot when you win it. Possibly. You might not even get the title shot depending on who you are, you know what I'm saying, and what the fans want and stuff. Because now they're going based off, they're not even really going off numbers. The last few fights and belt fights that we've had, man, they're not going off numbers. They're not going off rankings. They're going off popularity. They're going off what the media and what's going on in social media, what's going on, what the fans want, And I kind of like that, but at the same time, man, what are these fighters that are ranked doing this for if they're not getting the belt when they're up there at the top, you know what I mean? So, I just think that's crazy. I just had to go on a real quick rant, you know what I'm saying? But I also wanted to say, though, if I do these videos and do these news ones, try to go into detail on some news and what's going on in the sport and of MMA, period. But also on Instagram and Twitter, man, I post a lot of stuff, a lot of information, a lot of things that's going on in the sport, So if you want to check that out, man, it's DKane the God. DKane_the God on Instagram and Twitter. That's DKAIN_THAGOD. That's on Instagram and Twitter, man. So tune into, you can check those out and get some information, some news on there as well. I'm always posting, you know what I mean? Like I said, I love this shit, you know what I'm saying? Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It doesn't affect me or bother me in any type of way. You know what I'm saying? For everybody that does, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. Peace.